Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, da-da-da.
Welcome to the Visionary Voice series. I'm with Nooshie Motaref today. Nooshie is the author of the award-winning novel, Tapestries of the Heart. And she's gone through many challenging life experiences, unlike many women from the Middle East. She grew up in Persia and studied in 4 countries: Iran, Germany, Switzerland, and the United States. She received her master's and doctorate degrees from Florida State University. And in addition to being a professor, she presented one of her articles, Woman and Islam, for a conference, Women in Education, at Oxford University in Oxford, England. Her newest publication, which we're really excited about, is Land of Roses and Nightingales, 7 Adventures of a Persian Girl, based on Persian fairy tales and folk tales. The Persian girl in this book travels through time and space by stepping out of a dream. She is an embodiment of a hero and battles evil forces or solves riddles by using her wit and strength. Through endurance, she is triumphant, so that even the Persian king takes a bow to her. Wow, Nooshie, that almost sounds like you.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, so you really have led quite an interesting life with challenges that many of us haven't had to go through.
Well, that's true. It looks like it, yes.
Yes, so I'm so glad that you're here with us today on the Visionary Voice. You know, I know Nooshie, she's a friend of mine, and I know some of her stories. And I can tell you that in order for her to have gone through the challenges and succeeded like she did, she had to be a visionary. She had to have a greater vision for her life. Otherwise, well, you wouldn't be on this interview with me today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yes.
You're welcome. Okay, so let's get right to it. Nooshie, what does leading with personal power look like in your life?
Well, it's interesting that you are asking me this question today, leading the life with the personal power. Actually, I did that throughout my life, and I never knew what to call it, because education was important to me, and the reason for it is because of my parents, especially my father, always wanted me to learn. And still to this day, I consider myself as a student, not the professor, not the leader or anything, but I would love to learn in my life, because that strengthens the personal power and the inner voice, in other words, inner voice that we have. It makes us powerful. Like the more you know, that's what it makes it happen, because it makes us stronger, actually, whether we use the knowledge or degree or not. But knowing and having education and learning every day, that helps a whole lot with the personal strength to lead the life with the personal strength.
Okay, so learning for you is a source of personal power, or it is your personal power. And what I know is that leadership is all about leadership discovery. And leadership discovery is based on personal discovery. So what I'm hearing from you, Nooshie, is that to be the leader that you are, the visionary that you are, is based upon what you've learned. And you've mentioned the inner voice. So I hear this personal discovery, leadership discovery theme in how you lead your life with personal power.
Exactly. Right? Yes, exactly. Absolutely. Yes, because I believe the knowledge that we gain from outside, it helps us to get to know ourselves much better. And when we know ourselves, then we can lead the life not only for ourselves, but also for others as well. Because we do not live in a vacuum, in other words. So that's why the more we know ourselves, the better we can help out and we can lead other people, especially women, because we women, I believe, understand each other much better. And that would be a step toward the advancement in life.
Okay, so I'm also hearing when you learn more about yourself, you can make a better leader. So I'm also hearing about the importance of self-awareness in your life, and how that also, the learning about yourself, knowing about yourself, that inner voice, and having self-awareness helps you know more. The more you know about yourself, the more you know about other people in the world.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. Yes, that is what I believe in. And actually, according to Muhammad, the prophet, Muslim prophet, he believes that if you want to know your God, know yourself.
Mm.
So that's what it is important, that we know ourselves and lead the life that makes us a happier person, makes us a stronger person, makes us actually to know our God. So that's what I strongly believe in, that knowing ourselves is the first step toward the leadership, the strength of the leadership and all that.
I so agree. I didn't know that Muhammad had that directive. One of my favorite directives comes from the Greeks, know thyself. And
Right.
yeah, and so I'm right there with you. So knowing yourself first before all others is a source of your personal power. And
Absolutely. Yes.
and so living that, what you value, is how you lead your life then.
Absolutely. Yes. Of course, it is not easy when we are young, or when we are younger, especially teenagers and all that. But the more we are aware of it, the better off we are in life.
Yes, I agree. So Nooshie, when in your life did you not lead with personal power? Was there something in your life, like a catalyst, that made you realize that there was something more for you? And so this would have been a pivotal time where you were living your life a certain way. Something may have presented itself, or something happened that you then had to live your life another way. And that's when you really started leading your life with personal power. What was that like for you? What happened for you?
Well, that was a time actually when I finished my doctorate degree, and I went back to Iran in order to be the professor over there, and which I was the professor there. What happened was, because of the new regime, the government changed and wanted us, we women, to cover our heads. Which during my upbringing, I never had to do that. And I didn't know how to do it. So I decided to leave the country and come back to US. However, I could not come back to US because at that time, it was 1979. And some Iranian students had taken a few Americans hostage. So we Iranians not only could go to any foreign countries, but also, especially in US, we were not allowed to come back or come to this country. So at that time, I knew I do not want to follow a regime that actually I did not agree with them, especially that Muhammad himself in the Quran never directed women to cover their heads. And what the new regime of Iran was talking about is just telling us this is the Muslim way or Islamic way, and we have to follow it, which that was so I had a crisis in my life. I really didn't know what to do, especially my parents were there, didn't want me to leave the country again. And I did not I could not come back to the US anyway. So I tried and tried and tried for several months, actually, until finally I could get the visa to go to Switzerland. And with only 6 weeks permission to stay there. When I went there, I could not get the visa to come back to US. So I had to stay there. And finally, after almost a year, then I was successful and come back to US. So I believe that if we have a strength, inner strength, and believing in what you want to do, that is the most important part. I knew in my heart that I could not and did not want to cover my head and follow a rule that made me a follower, a sheep. I did not want to follow a rule that it did not sit with me very easily in my mind. My inner voice always telling me that, no, that's not right. That is what they are telling me and want me to do. It's not right. And I wanted to come back to a country that, like US, that respects the individual freedom. So I respected myself. And that was a time during that 1 year I was in Iran, or a year and a half. I felt like I was not really in charge of my life. Until that finally all the efforts that I put in and talking with all these different countries in consulates and embassies, I went to them and talked finally that I could get the visa to get out of the country that does not want to let people live their own life, individual life. So I'm very happy that I finally could get back to this country and make a life for myself. Therefore, again, it brings us to the same question that you had earlier. It is the inner strength and knowing yourself that made me to create that third force, in other words, in my life, and to come back to this country and have my individual freedom. So that's why I'm very happy.
Yeah, so you have shared so much. I have so many questions, but I can't ask you them all. So I'm going to stay focused on the visionary voice and leading with personal power. But when I see you next time in person, I have questions. But for us right now, what I'm hearing is, when you are faced with a situation where your freedom, your sovereignty and liberty was about to be stripped from you, that's when that visionary voice within you said, no way. And you did what you needed to do, and you found a legal way to do that, right? And some people don't have a legal way to do that, but you had a legal way. And but you also were relentless and persistent and following your inner voice to get out of Iran and pursue your freedom, pursue the liberty that you knew was so valuable to you. So you had this situation where your freedom was about to be stripped from you. And in your case, you had been raised, and you had shared with me before that your mother and grandmother also were raised in Iran in a way where you did not have to cover your head. It was not a religious thing. But when the new regime in the late 70s came in, they then said, you need to cover your head.
Correct.
And so that is when your inner voice said, get out of there. And it must have been, Nooshie, quite, well, first of all, very courageous, and also heartbreaking, because you had to leave people that you loved, your family.
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. I mean, I don't say it was an easy decision. It was heartbreaking. And actually, the time I was in Switzerland when I went there and I couldn't get back to US, I was consider myself a woman without the country, without home, without family and friends. But I did not want. I did not want. Actually, I did not want to abide to the rules. That it was so against my inner voice and my personal strength, because I had the very strong personal strength, whether because of my upbringing or coming to different countries and studies all by myself and not knowing anybody from the time I came to all these countries like Switzerland, Germany, or US. So I had to rely on myself and do the right things. That is what always I remember my father was telling me, that whatever you do when you go at night and sleep, remember that you need to sleep quietly and calmly. If you do something that is in contrast with the being right, or being right doing something that is not morally or morally right, then definitely you cannot sleep that night. If you want to sleep every night in a nice and calm way, you need to do everything according to the law, or according to the book, or according to whatever you believe in and whatever the society wants me to do. So that's why I decided to do all that, and still being in a country until I could get my visa back.
Mm-hmm. So you went to Switzerland and Germany, and eventually came back to the United States. And you didn't know a lot of people or anybody, and the language. I mean, I lived overseas for a while, and I've traveled around the world, and it can be difficult when you cannot communicate with other people. So I have such admiration for you, and you're welcome. And what I'm hearing is the language that was the most important to you was your inner voice, and that voice of integrity, so that you could go to sleep at night and have that inner peace that your father taught you or spoke about.
Exactly, yes. As you know, it is not easy to learn a foreign language, and I guess I was fortunate that I knew a little bit German, and also my degree was in English from my undergraduate in Tehran, so I knew English pretty well before I came here for my master's and PhD. So that's also another thing about education, because I didn't know any other way except going through education, find my way through education. Like when I was stranded in Switzerland, the only way I was thinking that, well, let me go to the university and see what they can do for me to stay. So that's the reason I went and signed up to be the postdoctoral student over there, so I could stay until the crisis came down. And then I could renew my visa to come back to US. So that's another good thing about education. I believe that regardless what is our background, it's good to get to know and learn. Whether to get a degree or not is not important, but it is important to learn a whole lot, because then that makes your life and yourself much easier. And actually, it reminds me of a saying of one of my favorite German poets, Maria Rilke, once said that perhaps our dragons of our lives are princesses who are only waiting to see us once brave, beautiful and brave. So that's what always I try to think, that while this burden or this load in front of me, or this is something that I need to, or this crisis, I need somehow to get it away, because I know that in life there is always solution for everything, for all the challenges of our lives that is in front of us, regardless of whatever we see, whatever it is hard at the time, it seems unsolvable. But I believe that always there is a solution to every challenge, especially within time. If we give it time, there is always the solution to every challenge of our lives.
Your personal power, your source of personal power, which was learning about yourself, learning about the world, and a part of that was through education, and I hear also your father's support.
Correct, yes.
That personal power in your life seemed to be threatened with the new regime in Iran in the late 70s.
Correct.
And that's when you really trusted your inner voice, and that vision you had of something more in your life, and you found a way to leave your home country, even though you didn't know where you were going, you didn't know the language, you didn't know anybody, but you knew yourself enough. So what I'm hearing is that throughout your life, you were raised to be in touch with that source of personal power. And it was when it was threatened that you really needed to rise up and just keep on going so that you would not lose your freedom.
Correct, yes.
Okay, so
because also this is what we know about ourselves, that what is important for us. For some people, it is important to have, let's say, to get married, to fall in love and stay with their love and have children. And so everything is fine. We need to find out what is important for each individual, because it is different. If for me, this way is getting to know myself, it is important. And I feel that, oh, now is the time, freedom is more important for me. But maybe for other people, something else is important. But the point is that to get to know what is important for you, what makes you happy in your life. So
yes, freedom. What I find, I mean, for me, the source of freedom for me is showing up in my authentic visionary self and not having to hide any of it.
Exactly.
And other women I've spoken to, who I've worked with, who I've coached, their commitment to their family or to their job or to their art may be the source of their personal power, but it's showing up in that capacity that brings them freedom. And so, yes, it may look different from the outside, but that sense of freedom by pursuing our vision for our life and who we are and what we value is so important. And I want to say also, what I'm hearing from you is that you trusted that. Because if you don't trust yourself, there is no freedom.
Exactly. If you don't trust yourself, you cannot trust anything outside of yourself.
Yeah, might as well go sit in the corner.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so we may have, pardon me?
If you don't know, if the person doesn't know what they want, then definitely it's just, life is not worth living. That's my idea. And
yes, well, certainly when we connect, or when you connect to that source of inspiration, or what makes us come alive from within, if we're not in touch with that, life is dull. Life is not very fulfilling. So it's very important for us to be connected to that truth and that wisdom within, and honor it and trust it and party with it and sing to it and celebrate with it. Everything. It's everything.
Absolutely. Yes, because then it makes you triumphant in your life.
Yes, I love that word, triumphant.
Triumphant. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so Nooshie,
Yes.
I think we may have touched upon this, but let me hear it from you. I speak a lot about something more. Many women sense that there's something more for them. And even you, when you were leaving or trying to leave Iran, you knew through your visionary self that you are, there was something more for you. And a lot of women don't even know what that is, though they know it's there for them. And each of us is unique in how that something more shows up in our life, or what quality of being that it is for each of us. And I call that something more. I mean, there's a lot of different types of something more. In this case, what I'm talking about is your unique quality or essence or your authentic beingness that was integral to you and still is for you in order to lead with personal power in the way you do. So with all of that, I'm not a woman of too few words. What is your unique something more?
Well, always in my life, I found out that if I see another person is happy, then that is for me also happiness. So something more for me, it was the time when I had my education and experience, and now is the time to try to guide or lead other women, especially young generation. And that's why my new book, Land of Roses and Nightingales, is about, because I wanted to trust themselves, and they learn how to get to know themselves and try, then the king would bow to them. See, that's what my other thing waiting for me is, that I wanted to see I'm successful knowing that I lead or open the path toward other women or other men, doesn't matter, because we are all human beings, and I don't believe that one can do something and another one cannot do. But so mainly it's to be to have a path or to be the leader for the young generation to really understand themselves and enjoy their life. So, and by knowing themselves. So that's what my idea is, about something else to be helpful, because helping other people, especially mentally, is to be encouragement, to be motivational person for them, that if they put lots of hard work and believe in themselves, then they can really reach whatever they want to do, or whatever makes them happy.
And it sounds like then they'd be able to sleep at night with that inner peace. So I'm hearing, I think, your father speak through you. Yeah. And as a visionary, I think this is common to visionary women, is that what we do is not just for ourselves, but it's for future generations. It's that legacy that we leave. So you're unique something more in this case. This ability of yours, a quality of being of yours, is to see other people happy, see other people know themselves, and to encourage them to have this similar experience of empowerment and knowing themselves that you've had.
Yes, satisfaction of life.
Yes, and be triumphant.
And be triumphant.
Yes, and I want to say some of the women visionaries that just have my utmost admiration and respect are the American suffragettes.
Yes.
they had very little rights. They didn't have the ability to really speak up. They weren't allowed to work. They didn't have, there was so many things they didn't have. And they worked so hard and traveled around the country when all we had was maybe one train or two. The telegraph was like social media, but they never gave up. They knew that if they could not get equality for American women during their days and during their life, that they were going to be leaving a legacy for the generations of women who came after them. So I'm hearing, I mean, that is a visionary, being your true self and knowing that your vision is not just for you, but for those who come after you. And of course, for those who are alive at the same time, then we can all be triumphant together, because that's the absolute best for us to celebrate the triumphant success of our vision. The next question is about leadership qualities. So Nooshie, what are the top 3 leadership qualities based upon your experience of leading with personal power that you believe other women will benefit from? So,
well, those 3, I have to say, first of all, to get to know yourself. That is the number 1 priority. And not to be shy away from hard work, because getting to know yourself is not easy, and it needs lots of work, lots of reading, lots of research, not necessarily research, but I mean, not academia research, but definitely talking with other people and hearing the voice of other people and see how they do in that situation or in the other situation. So to be well aware and to do the hard work. And the third one, to love yourself, lead with the love. That is the answer to all the challenges in life. Throughout the years, I found out that one thing is is like a key, opens the secret of the world, and having the love toward the humanity and toward the world. So that's what I would say the 3. In my life, that's how I found out that the 3 ways are that hard work, getting to know yourself, and having love for everybody, and regardless of, for humankind, for anything, for animals, for anything, for trees, for earth, and for life, to have love for life. So
okay. Those are 3 great qualities. So know yourself, don't be afraid of the hard work. And what I heard you say is that hard work is learning about other aspects of life, because all of it then goes back to number 1, which is know yourself. So know yourself. Don't be afraid. Don't shy away from all of the work or activities or effort or exploration in learning about life, so you can learn about yourself. And then lead with love. Love yourself. So, yeah. So, okay, I'm signing up for those 3. So, Nooshie, when is your new book coming out? And let me just repeat the name of it, or you tell us. What is the name of your new book again?
It's Land of Roses and Nightingales, 7 Adventures of a Persian.
Oh, there it is. Oh, lovely.
Actually, the first, August 21st is the official release of my book.
August 21st.
And it's going to be released worldwide. So
okay,
everywhere you are, you can get to it.
Okay, so how do we get to it? Is it Amazon, or do your website, or where?
Yes, you can go to Amazon. You can go on my website and get it. So.
Okay, and tell me, what is your website?
www.nooshiemotaref.com.
Okay.
And also, I would love to give the presentation or talk about actually the fairy tales, folk tales, and the importance and how they impact our mature lives in this present time, how we need to learn from our past in order to have a better life in the present time. So.
Okay, so we can find your book on Amazon or at your website, which is, let me see here, let me just spell it out, www.nooshiemotaref.com.
Correct.
And if anybody would like to invite you to speak, then they can reach out via your website, or is there a better way?
Website, or they can call me 818-625-9360.
Will your book be in Persian or Farsi eventually?
I hope that one day, yes, when I go, hopefully. I'm trying to connect with the Persian departments here at UAV, and also I'm going next month to Toronto and connecting with the Persian department over there to see if any one of them would like to translate my book in Farsi.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah. Okay, well, I want to thank you for joining me on the Visionary Voice, and I look forward to speaking with you again real soon.
Thank you so much for your invite, and I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.